The Wrestling Edge podcast has finally returned. I know, it's been too long. It's been too long since we last done a program, but we're back with a vengeance, and I'm back with a new tag team partner. And you may notice him from other YouTube shows, some great shows with some great guests. One recently just dropped with streamer Wheezy Blonde. That is my new tag team partner, my new partner here at the Wrestling Edge podcast. It is Jordan, aka One Breezy. Welcome, Jordan, to the show.
Adam, it's always good working with you. And do you know what? I'm happy to be here.
Good. I'm happy that you're here. Happy that you're here shooting the stuff with me on this channel. You'll see a lot more of us too, whether that be review shows, interviews, whatever. You'll be here. And of course, some of that may also filter through to Jordan's channel at One Breezy right on social media. So go give him a follow. If you're not already, why not? But Jordan, we're going to talk all things Raw on the return show on the Wrestling Edge podcast. Now, we're moving towards Night of Champions in the land of Saudi Arabia. For those people that love that's the fact that it's going to Saudi Arabia, along with the Royal Rumble next year, from memory. Look, the show started with John Cena, and he obviously comes out with his championship, cuts a long-winded promo. The crowd chanted "Want Our Truth." We'll get more onto that in a minute. He did make it funny. He did say that R-Truth was a gimmick and whatnot, but that got out. CM Punk come out, challenged John Cena to a match that evening, tonight on Raw, or last night on Monday Night Raw. Cena said, "Let's do it," but at Night of Champions. Now, for those of you that have been living under a rock, will know that CM Punk's had a few choice words for Saudi Arabia shows and WWE. That being said, he agreed to the match. Seth Rollins comes out. So Seth Rollins, for those of you that haven't watched my review on the Hidden Turnbuckle podcast, will know that Seth is now Mr. Money in the Bank again. Jordan, I'm going to hand this over to you now with a couple of questions. Number one, when it comes to this whole Saudi Arabia thing, CM Punk saying things a good few years ago about blood money and whatnot, and is now on the show itself. Do wrestlers have to be careful what they say in case things bite them on the arse in the future? And finally, I know I may have gone a bit thingy on the screen, but finally, is this match too big for Night of Champions?
It's a tricky one because obviously, like he said last night, that he's only got 18 dates left,
Yes.
and there's probably only going to be like 7 matches, 8 matches. Do you know what I mean? And
Yep.
he's got to pick his final opponents very wisely and where he wants to do them. Personally, a, I mean, their match in 2011 was good.
Yeah.
I'm all for it being. See, it's a tricky one because obviously if you mention Saudi Arabia, you don't want to come across as being what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You don't want to come across as being. I'm not saying racist, but you don't want to come across as being like funny
Yeah.
or arrogant or thingy because obviously any match can happen at anywhere. I'm very biased that they're getting a Royal Rumble. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's nice to have one in the UK, and I think we should. We deserve it
Yeah.
before them, in my opinion. But yeah, I think the match is too big for Night of Champions, if you ask me. I'd even have it on a Monday Night Raw.
Well, that's what Punk wanted to do.
Yeah.
So for that man, so I just got a feeling that I just feel with wrestlers nowadays. I know they jump ship from one to the other. And I know Punk probably had at that time had not envisaged coming back to the WWE, but he made a comment. I think it was two comments. One of them was that one about the blood money, and the second one was about main event in night four of a buy one get one free show, hinting at the two-night WrestleManias. Yet that's
Mm.
exactly what he's gone and done. So do wrestlers have to be a bit more choose their words maybe a bit more wisely going forward so they don't get bitten on the arse on the way back?
It's one of them. It's never say never to anything, isn't it? Really, because
Yeah.
probably Punk never thought he would go back to WWE, but circumstances happened, and then he got a call, and then he's matured in the last 10 years, and same with Triple H.
Yeah.
So probably did he say something that he might regret? Yeah. Does it may CM Punk stand by his comments? Yeah. Probably not the mess at WrestleMania one, but he might stand by the blood money. But we don't know, but probably when they're speaking about obviously making the match for Saudi Arabia, he might have, right, okay, I'll do it, but this. Or he might have said something, or it might have been in his contract or something when he signed it 2 years ago.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. But nevertheless, CM Punk John Cena is at Night of Champions. I have a feeling that with Seth and the cronies in the background at that Raw, maybe that won't end, shall we say, in a clean manner in a couple of weeks' time. But we will see. When this was announced on Raw, AJ Styles and Chad Gable, it just, take, the words "take my money." Look, it was a solid match. I don't think either of these two were moving at, say, 100%. I mean, Chad Gable, yes, everyone, he is El Grande Americano. He wrestled twice, three times, really, in the space of a couple of days. He done the crazy match at Worlds Collide with Vikingo, where he nearly killed himself on a few times. Then he went straight into a ladder match because, of course, why not? I felt as if, and then of course AJ Styles potentially a dream match on Raw. I do think that this match needed more time. I'm not a big fan of interferences. I say that a lot on the TNA reviews. I thought this one was, although I don't like interferences too much, I thought it was well done here because it actually led to some couple of very tight near falls. I did like Gable's counter into the ankle lock. It was nothing short of perfection, which is Chad Gable itself. And then Styles rolling Gable into the Styles clash using the calf crusher was a great well, it was amazing. It was a heck of a finish. But I mean, these two at 95%, it was just as, was nearly as good as these two at 100%.
100%. I'll agree with you on that one. I think if you put Chad Gable, it's weird because Wheezy said this yesterday. She mentioned obviously Chad Gable's technical,
Hmm.
and then Vikingo is fast and quick.
Yeah.
So when you put them two together, you think on paper, yeah, no, but it worked.
Yeah.
So you put Chad Gable in the ring with anyone, and he'll create magic, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chad Gable was in,
Same with AJ Styles.
yeah, same with AJ Styles. Did the right person win this match in AJ Styles?
Yeah, I'd say that
Okay. I
because
don't know.
I'd say AJ Styles seems a little bit lost at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. There's no direction for AJ. Don't know contractually where he stands at the minute, but yeah, seemingly lack of direction there. I'm not even sure if Gable's got a direction, to be honest. It kind of feels like he's kind of what I would call a good hand for WWE. Whenever they need somebody, he's the man to call on.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we'll find out what happens if anything follows that up from next week between the two. But what we are going to be getting over the next couple of weeks, as we lead into Saudi Arabia, is King and Queen of the Ring, and we did get some matches on Raw. The first one was Rhea versus Carrie Sane versus Liv Morgan versus Roxanne Perez. A little bit of interference here from Raquel Rodriguez. I felt again the match was okay. I think it could have been a lot better for these two. Again, lack of time on this. Roxanne Perez did pick up the victory and wins. With that being said, though, Jordan, who is your pick? I mean, we don't know necessarily who's necessarily in it all yet, but for Queen of the Ring, who would you envisage winning that tournament?
Good question. I think the most to gain from it is Roxanne Perez, where she is right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And funny you mentioned obviously the King and Queen of the Ring. I did not like them announcing Oscar like
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
I think maybe as a surprise, like they're doing for the wild card one, and then she comes back next week to a pop. Brilliant. But just like pre-announcing it on like a little picture, I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, because she's been away quite some time, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And it probably would have been more deserving of a big, like you said, like a surprise. Or we got the multi-man next week that's got a mystery. And who do you think's that one? By the way, I know we're not there yet. Who do you think that man
So there's three people, right?
is? Hmm.
There's three people that's in my head who I think it is, and then there's who I want it to be. So someone, I'm saying it could be Mr. Iguana,
Right. Yeah.
just randomly.
Yeah.
I think where it is right now with the altercation that we saw last night with Sami Zayn and Karrion Cross,
Yeah.
I think now would be a perfect time to put him in there, him win it, and then go on to maybe SummerSlam and win the title or
Mhm.
something. Give him a little push. But then the next person that I can see really winning it, well, I can't say winning it because there's a lot of star power in there, but someone who's missed the mystery opponent, I can see Ron Killings.
Interesting. We'll get to Ron in a minute. That's an interesting one. My sort of outsider pick, not necessarily to win it, but for the mystery man was Ricky Saints or Ricky Starks. Was a
Yeah.
was one
Okay, that would
potential.
work as well, to be honest.
Mr. Iguana would be great. For those of you that don't know, check out Worlds Collide. It's something, if anything, it's something, shall we say. But we'll find out about that and we'll get into the men's match in a minute. But the man came around on Monday Night Raw. I gotta say, Jordan, her promos, Becky's that is, are so hit and miss right now. And I feel this one was a miss. Didn't quite work. I'm not quite sure, you know, what she was actually really alluding to. Lyra Valkyria went to come out. She was going to stomp to the ring for Becky Lynch, but behind Becky, and a bit more of a surprise to Lyra initially, the returning Bailey. Um, the camera did go dark. There was a few, shall we say, wardrobe issues with what Bailey was wearing. You'd know if you know if you know, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. She did escape, but then she bumped straight into Lara, who threw her back in. The beatdown carried on, and then Becky did come out, looking like potentially a freeway here. Becky, Lyra, Bailey, which will be great, but I've not been. I'm still not sold on Lyra yet. I have to say, and I've
Really?
not. Yeah, not quite there. I'm there more than I was a month or two ago, but I'm not
Okay.
quite there. Lynch at the moment, I kind of agreed with her becoming IC champ. I feel as if the IC champion needed sort of star power to begin with. And that's not a disrespect to Lyra, but in terms of,
Yeah.
people winning it for the first time, Natalia or a Becky or Charlotte or someone like that would have worked for me. But look, heading towards a triple threat match, possibly at Night of Champions, I don't see Becky losing it that soon though.
I'm saying, I think I would have kept Bailey, out for probably like another couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Because obviously, if you think about it now, Lyra and Becky are like one apiece.
they are.
So I would have finished it. I really think that Lyra and Becky, and obviously they know each other very well anyway, in the ring, are they've both been good matches.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it was right dropping the title to Becky. Probably not so soon with it. She's
Mhm.
just come back after Mania,
Yeah.
but I would have probably done it at the next one.
Okay. Yeah, I get
But
that. That makes sense. That does make sense. But nevertheless, we're heading towards triple threat, I think, anyway, and we'll
yeah,
see. Whereas now you mentioned Kill It, Ron Killings, our truth. He come out again, all dressed in black, like he was at Money in the Bank. I'm going to ask a question about this after. I want to first off get your opinion on this. He obviously comes out, cuts a promo, cuts his hair, basically announces now that he's Ron Killings, and that is and he is the truth and the whole truth, and put some respect on his name. Um, where are they going with this? Do you think?
good question. But the promo last night, you felt it. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. He did.
Because the guys, I think what WWE did in the last week, obviously, was a bit hypocritical, as in the sense of if that's how you're going to treat your veterans who's been there 17 plus years, and it's like, who's next? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it shows what power the WWE universe, has, or
Yeah.
the IWC. It does show because, like I was saying to Weezy yesterday, his tweet that he put out had 22.7 million people. And then obviously you, because you're a big TNA fan, you must have watched Against All Odds.
Yeah.
We want truth.
Yeah.
NXT, we want truth.
Yeah.
Worlds collide. We want every over the last 5 days, 5 shows. We want truth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then obviously Nick was seeing it. Nick Khan might have to get in. I've read stuff. Obviously, he's now Ron Killings because like he wants to use the name like when he eventually leaves WWE, for
Yeah.
appearances and stuff like that. So, but Do you know what? We've seen him be a comedian. We've seen him win titles. We've seen him as quick, cool, yeah, K Quick,
Hey,
sorry.
quick. Yep.
Yeah, we've seen him in TNA. We've seen him heel turn in 2011. I
Yep.
feel like then they could have done a lot more with it.
Hmm.
But now, do you know what? I'm behind it because that man can do anything.
Interesting. Also a former NWA world champion as well.
That's true.
For that. But the second question is here, and you've alluded to some of this, that he got told that his contract wasn't going to be renewed. He posted it out there, big social media backlash. He's obviously, look, he's the WWE's version of David Attenborough, right? You always want him to be around forever. I take a little bit of an issue with it. I'm not saying I agreed with the decision, by the way. I'm not in the slightest, but if this was happening, say in real, I don't say real life, but you know what I mean. Like if me or you got told that, hey, look, contracts expiring, you're going, that we're not renewing you.
Mm.
No much, not a public outcry, not by our peers, whether this was a work or a shoot. You can tie up a lot of the reputable people are saying it was a shoot. It was, a real thing that happened. We wouldn't get that opportunity to come back no matter what. So there's the slight issue with it. But the second part of this is I go back to the Roman Reigns Rock thing. Everybody wanted that match, right? Everyone until Cody won the Rumble. And then the same people that wanted Rock and Roman then went, well, Cody's won the Rumble, so technically it'd be Cody Roman. And then there was a backlash on that. And the WWE pivoted and done a Cody.
Hmm.
Right. Does the WWE need to grow a set of balls when it comes to making these big decisions, right? Because look, they said to R-Truth, thanks, whatever, we're not renewing you. 17, I know he's been there 17, a long time, but look, we're not renewing you. That's it. The moment there is a slight backlash of that, and I know there wasn't a backlash on Dakota Kai and a few others, but the moment there was this big hysteria, they made it. They pivoted and brought him back, and the same thing with Cody. They was going with Rock and Roman, which I wanted to see. I wanted that. I feel as if now we may not even get it anymore. We may have lost that chance, and it's certainly not going to have the same appeal as it did a few years ago. So when the WWE
Yeah.
makes a decision that the fans are not happy with, should they not just grow a set and say, we're sticking with this, our choice, lump it?
I think with that, I think you can argue, different opinions.
Mm.
I think obviously the WrestleMania where Cody and Roman had the first match, brilliant. I think Cody in the end was the right person to dethrone Roman. I was against it, but then I wasn't, for
Yeah.
this obviously second year in a row. I
Mhm.
wanted Rock versus Roman. I've always wanted it for the last 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a big money match and it'll break records, everything. Then you had Rock as the babyface and Roman as the heel.
Yeah.
This time, if it happens next year, I think next year is the only time that it can happen. I really do.
Right.
Because obviously now Roman's the babyface, and obviously, yes, he's away at the moment, but when he comes back, obviously, The Rock is the final boss,
Yeah.
and obviously, he's in Johnny Cena's pocket at the moment, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think next year is the right time for that. But I think in wrestling, it's always at timings,
Mhm.
and it depends who it is. Do you know what I mean? I think we as fans, it just in the last week and Cody Rhodes, it
Mm.
just shows that they do listen to us when Triple H says that he doesn't. They clearly do.
Was it a fan thing or was it the peers? Was it the likes of a John Cena,
It's
a
probably a
Cody
both
Rhodes? Yeah, both, you reckon?
because obviously it takes 20. The numbers speak for themselves as well.
Mhm.
Obviously, yeah, you've got people in the arenas because obviously Triple H has been in Gorilla, obviously SmackDown and Raw, probably
Yep.
NXT as well, and everywhere. Shawn Michaels was in NXT, obviously TNA. I don't know who was there, but you watch the videos, you can hear it. So you got everyone in there. You got everyone who's watching it at home. You got 22.7 million. It's a lot of people.
Mm.
That's probably 35% of the UK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that maybe they kind of think it wasn't going to be such a big deal that it was?
Yeah. I think that they didn't think it was going to be as big as it was,
Hmm.
and then they thought, "Fuck." Sorry if I can't
No,
swear. They
no,
thought,
you're allowed to
"Fuck."
do that. No, that's fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they realized they made a bad decision, which now that bad decision has gave our true Ron Killings an opportunity. He's
Hmm.
now going by his real name.
Yeah.
He's now going to get a sick theme song, I think.
As long as I ain't Death
He's
Rebel.
yeah. His country's his country song that he put on slash rap song that he put on Twitter, I'd have that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite good. Do you know what I mean? That's his own music. But yeah, I think it's timings and it depends who it is. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we do have a lot to say.
We do. We certainly do. Maybe more than, as you say, what they let on, but we certainly have a say. Anyway, we'll leave killings until next week and find out what happens. The next one was at the men's side of things. Fatal four-way King of the Ring match. You touched on it earlier. Sammy versus Penta versus Braun versus Dominic. LA Knight getting involved as well. He hit the blunt force trauma on Braun Breaker in this. Sami Zayn picking up the victory. A haluva kicked Dominic's head off, to be quite honest, on this. Was you surprised that Sami Zayn won this one?
Year and no. I was surprised because I was like, where'd you go in? It's weird because WWE at the moment you can think of any person. I think Sami Zayn does deserve to be a world champion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then he comes back down to timings as well. Because I think Karrion Cross is someone at the moment. Karrion Cross is in his contract year, as they call it.
Yes. Yeah.
So SummerSlam could be a great opportunity for him to get it, or do you know what I mean? Build a
Yeah.
momentum for it. But then you've got Zayn who could have it. But this is what I mean. It's timings and it's who do you want to push? It's who. But Sami Zayn does deserve it. I was shocked that he won because personally, just going to throw this in there. I think Dominic Mysterio has improved massively over the last year.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Massively. Personally, I would have had Braun win.
Yeah, I think that made more sense. And to be honest, though, I just want to touch on Dom Mysterio, and I love Dominic Mysterio, but I think he's absolutely brilliant. My thing with it is, though, since he's won that IC championship, I don't think they've done enough with him since he's done that.
No,
That's my
I'll
opinion.
agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I will say. So Sami Zayn goes on. Now, Sami Zayn will take on the winner of the neck of the SmackDown side of things, which this fatal four-way match, I mean, I mean, all of them are looking good, but he will take on the winner out of Carmelo Hayes, Aleister Black, LA Knight, and Randy Orton. Who do you pick for that this week?
I know who I would want to win, and I
Right.
know who's not going to win.
Okay.
Carmelo Hayes is not winning.
Right.
LA Knight's going to get attacked or interfered
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
the Three
Breaker.
Stooges.
Yeah.
Uh, I want I keep calling him Malachi, Aleister Black. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want him to win it. But personally, obviously, star power for Night of Champions, you're going to want Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Randy Orton. We will see. And to talk about the other side of things. So next week on Raw, we've kind of already planted the seeds of this. It is Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson Reed, and a mystery person. If it is Iguana, I think he's dead, to be quite honest, because
Yeah.
those guys are going to kill it next week. So we'll find out who that is. I was just trying to think if there's any big guys left that are due back or missing out of that. Do you know
The
who
only
would be good?
person, go on.
Obafemi.
Ooh, I could see that. But do you know if you're on about big people, you Karrion Cross. Do you know what I mean? That's the
Karrion
person
Cross.
you would want.
Yeah,
Like I said earlier, it's either going to be Mr. Iguana, Ron Killings, or Karrion Cross.
I would
Because then
rather.
obviously then you've got Karrion Cross the other side of the brackets. Then you've got Sami Zayn, and then them two could be the final.
That's a great shout because Karrion Cross and Sami Zayn did have an interaction after Sami's match. Now, the last SmackDown match on the King of the Ring is another beauty. Shinsuke Nakamura, to be honest, he needs to get out of here with WWE. Andrade El Idolo, Damian Priest, and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I have a feeling the finals of this, and I know you kind of, we could be getting Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton at Night of Champions.
It's, see, this is what I mean. It's timings and it's what do you want.
Yeah.
It's could they go for Cody Rhodes and Orton? Could they go for Karrion Cross and Sami Zayn? It's it totally depends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But them two, what you the one I've said and the one you said, it's going to be one of them two.
Yeah. Gotta be, hasn't it? It's gotta be. I'm
Yeah,
still going for Cody and Randy. I think are going to be the ones for me. That's for sure. But I mean,
but the star power it'll be them.
that's a hell of a field, though, right?
Yeah,
One hell of a field, that's for sure. I'm looking forward to that. Nikki Bella, Evolution 2 is coming up. Nothing to do with it being an all-in weekend or anything like that. Not, no, no, no. But anyway, they're bringing Evolution 2 back, which I'm very much looking forward to. She did mispronounce Stephanie Vacquer's name. I think we've all done that
yeah.
for a course of time. She was interrupted by Liv Morgan, which maybe that's where they're going for Evolution 2, Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan. She did kind of say about Dominic Mysterio, about who is actually does he belong to her or Roxanne Perez, which was an interesting one. But do you think that that's where, do you think that's where they're going with this, Bella and Liv Morgan? And is that a match at Evolution 2 that you want to see?
Like I was saying with Weezy yesterday, I think obviously Triple H said he wants to bring Evolution 2 back years ago. I think that was a lot of bollocks.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
It
Because
was.
obviously they've had the money, they've got the resources, they've had the talent. I think, in my opinion, and I said this to Easy and she agreed with me, I think Evolution 2 should be a two-nighter.
Yeah.
Reason
Interesting.
being is because there's so much talent on the roster, like Raw and SmackDown. You've got Julia, you've just added Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vacker. Do you know what I mean? You've got obviously now Mariah May in NXT. You've got a lot of talent in NXT.
Yeah.
Guaranteed they're going to probably want to use some people from TNA maybe. Do you know what I mean? And obviously you can't just throw people in a battle royal.
No,
Do you know what I mean? So, and sorry, I'm kind of diverting from your question,
that's fine.
but there's two ways you could go about this. Obviously, because you mentioned the tag titles a lot. You could give the Bella Twins versus Liv and Thingy, Raquel,
Yeah.
or you could have Liv and Nikki Bella. So there's two ways you could go about that. But the only thing what pissed me off about Nikki Bella last night, apart from pronouncing her name wrong, was every advert it showed you, she's walking around the building. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Nikki, we want to get an advert. Yeah, walk around the building. Do you know, that's if you watch it and it's I was like, God, because I watched it till 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was like, God. And then when she said Stephanie's name, it just put the icing on the cake. It just pissed me off.
I just had this feeling the way they're doing sponsorships now. Obviously, we saw the Slim Jim ladder and Christ knows what else. I thought they were just going to walk past and there was going to be a sponsors bit on the wall, just to make more
Jesus.
money as they do. But we'll digress on that. Let's talk main event. And was it a surprise? Who knows? Gunther dethroning Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match was far better than the WrestleMania match. That I will say. Jey passed out to the choke. They're 1 for 1. There's no doubt probably going to be a rematch, maybe even at Night of Champions. Funnily enough, but what was your feeling about this? Was it the right time to take it off Jay, or was I mean, listen, Jay's had his critics as much as his fans here. There were a few people that didn't like him. He's just a catchphrase. He's just a yeet, so to speak. Um,
Mm.
but was it right to take the title off of Jay right now?
Yes and no.
Mm.
Reason being is obviously there was a lot of hype this year for him to win the Rumble, but when he won the Rumble, then when he tapped out Gunther at WrestleMania, I didn't agree with that.
No.
I did not agree with that one bit because I think that tapping Gunther out, it made him look weak.
Yep.
And then since Mania, Gunther's done nothing. Obviously, the match with McAfee was actually all right, to be honest, I thought.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
But Gunther's done nothing in 2 months.
Yeah. He has.
So, And I will tell you something now. Do you know if going for a tap title last night?
Yeah.
I would have packed. If I was him, I would have packed my bags and gone because you literally just destroyed the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, Personally, I would have put it in a DQ
Okay.
because obviously that makes Gunther not look weak. And then also Jey Uso's still got the title for probably give it another month or something.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe good. I was surprised. I was thinking maybe Seth would have cashed in, but he's seemingly looking at other
Too
areas.
soon. Too
Yeah.
soon.
And he seems to be having his eyes on. Does Punk beat Cena at Night of Champions and Seth cashes straight in and defeats Punk? A little bit like the McIntyre thing at WrestleMania.
It's a weird one because obviously the Money in the Bank ladder match, when men and women's had star power, you could have gone either way with it. Do you know what I mean? You could have Rollins, in my opinion, was the right winner in the sense of storyline
Yep.
because now he's lurking in the background with the group with the case and he could do it at any time.
Yep. Definitely.
Personally, if I was him, I would hold it for about 4 to 6 months
Okay.
because then that takes you into the Survivor Series season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And then, personally, I thought LA Knight was going to get it
fine.
because, in my opinion, he deserves better.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do something with him now, then you've missed an opportunity.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, see, for me, it was either Seth, LA Knight, or Solo Sikoa.
Solo Sikoa. Yeah, because he's
I
been.
love what he's doing.
Mm.
I love how funny he is.
Was the Jacob turn too soon?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I would
think
have
so.
done it. I would have done it probably on SmackDown.
I probably would have had them turn on him. I know that it was
Yeah,
Solo was saying, "Oh, that he's stupid," and Jacob come in and saw that. I still would have perhaps had him be the one being turned on, going on to the fact that he was stupid, like, and maybe looking at it that way. I don't know.
Jacob. Obviously, do you know what? We've not seen Hikuleo from New Japan in. He's not had a match in a year. He's just still signed to WWE, which is weird. He
Yeah,
will come when Jacob's like beating up. In my opinion, still the same Jeff Cobb,
yeah.
and so he will come and like take out Jacob.
Okay,
And I think Solo is gonna have a match for the United States title at SummerSlam with Jacob.
probably. Yeah, that could be going that way. I could see that happening. Maybe Solo even wins it from Jacob. Maybe with the help of Hikuleo at that point.
Yeah,
Maybe, but we'll find out. It was actually quite a good episode of Raw. We've had a few boring ones recently. I felt this one was actually a big step in the right direction. But
yeah.
as we go on further, Jordan, look, you've got your own channel as I mentioned at One Breezy, and you announced a quote unquote big, with more than sense of the word, name that you're going to be interviewing in July for the channel. Care to share that again for us?
He's my guest in July. Should we just call him a machine?
Yeah, that's a
Brian
good one.
Cage. Brian Cage.
Brian Cage, that is a great get for the channel, for your channel. Brian Cage joining you in July, obviously on the shelf at the minute with an injury.
Um,
Well, he's back in the gym apparently 4 days after. So that'll be a good one for you to check out. You've just finished again with One Breezy. Is it not One Breezy? You are One Breezy. Wheezy Blonde, is that right? As
yeah,
well, that was
yeah.
that was that was out yesterday. Who else have you got on? If people want to watch your interviews on the channel, who else is on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist? Well, we've mentioned a few. Obviously, I've interviewed Jacob Fatu, which is, in my opinion, will always be a big one, and I'll be forever grateful because he is probably he's one of my favorite wrestlers. He moves
Yeah.
like no other. He's probably one of the reasons why I am where I am right now.
Yeah.
He's really good interacting with Wheezy.
Yeah, she's great.
I've obviously Zilla Fatu. I've I've done a lot of content creators, lately. Like
Yeah.
NYC Demon Diva. I've done obviously Wheezy Blonde. I've done the One Mona. I've done Muscleman Malcolm. I've got a fair few favorites, but the ones that I've got up, obviously, the Machine, Brian Cage, could not wait for that with the magic of wrestling.
Yes.
Liam, and I did one the other day, which is going to drop soon with, do you know, the Paragon Talent
Yeah, the
Agency?
Paragon Talent
No,
Agency.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Paragon, yeah. I'd done that with Stephen K.
Okay.
Unbelievable, unbelievable guy. I'm in the talks with someone from Reality of Wrestling, Alexia Grace, Alexia Garcia.
Mhm. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then it's just pretty much at the moment just reaching out to people. But like I said, my big one's obviously Brian Cage, and I'm so grateful for that
That is
because
going to be
he's my
amazing. And you had
second
Bishop
AEW
Khan on
talent.
as well. Sorry. And
I
you had
did,
Bishop
yeah,
Khan from
I did. That was probably one of the reasons how I got Brian, to be honest.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for that.
Some might say that Warren Breezy is all elite.
Mate, I wish. Do you know what? AEW at the moment is one of my favorites. Do you know what I mean? I love WWE, but
Mm.
AEW is, I'm getting more invested. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to ask a question actually, and I apologize, I didn't ask it earlier as we're wrapping up now, but I was fearing this the other day. Look, there's been a lot of disgruntled WWE fans on social media with it with being ticket prices or whatever else. Is now a real interesting time for someone for a company like AEW to grab the bull by the horns, so to speak. And they can see there's a lot of disgruntled fans out there. Is now a perfect time for AEW just to, try and prize a few of these away from the WWE?
Yeah and no, I think yes, because obviously AEW ticket prices at the moment I think is very fair.
Yep.
I think someone I've seen on TikTok, do you know, like someone's going to SummerSlam and on the floor, like front row, do you know, for a four people, I think the tickets are 10 grand.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know, I've got to work for that. I've probably got to work, yeah, loads of shifts and loads of months. But I think AEW ticket prices are fair.
Yep.
And I think, do you know what? AEW is not even biting at the moment.
No, they're not. They're going about their business.
Yeah, and I respect that.
Yeah, I do, to be fair.
Do I do I think that obviously them doing a lot of shows because WWE is doing like six major shows in two
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
or something like that. It's five or six. And
Yeah.
AEW is just doing all in.
Yeah.
I think there's only three matches been announced so far,
Mhm.
and them three matches alone's obviously got you interested. So I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested for All In. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to all wrestling this week. Dynamite's obviously shaping up to be good. NXT tonight, obviously NWA as well on Twitter at the NWA site. Go on the NWA site. Coming up on the Hit in the Turn, my sister channel, the Hit in the Turnbuckle, the one that I also go for. We're going to be interviewing Bear Bronson tonight. Actually, that will go out next week. Myself and Dave will be there for that one. Talk NWA Talking Territories. We're recording with the new NWA. I think it's New Mexico champion Izzy James. That one's going in. Lots of names not yet but when I say not yet booked, we're working on dates with the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tom Latimer being one of those for us. We want him on for our 100th episode of Power that we're going to be. Again, this is over at
That'll be good.
HTT. Yeah, this is over at HTT or Hitting the Turnbuckle on YouTube. So go and follow that. Obviously, go and follow at One Breezy on his. I'm looking at getting Headbanger Chaz on to do an Attitude Era kind of year in the Attitude Era, or maybe a few years in the Attitude Era, where we pick certain months of the year where something big happened in wrestling in that month, and let him talk through about the effects of Z headline.
Mm.
So that'll be interesting. Gangrel will be coming on, of course, in due course. Just waiting for Dave to sort something out because that's more one. Not saying more one that I don't want to interview him. Of course I do. But Dave, the co-host on Hitting the Turnbuckle, it was a big Brood fan. So we're trying to get that sorted out. Plus other names as well. But Jordan, man, it's been great. Our first show partnering together on this channel. We've obviously been on there in the Turnbuckle. I've been on your channel, One Breezy, as well. But the
Yeah.
first one of many on here on the Wrestling Edge podcast. Obviously, thank you. And I always give you the question: should we do some more on this channel soon as well?
I think this is what's that? There's a saying like this could be the start of something beautiful.
Is there a song or is that a saying?
I, not
If
had a
it
clue.
if it's a
It just
song,
sounded right in my head.
if it's a song, you're singing it next week. I'll find it for us. But no, or you're singing it next episode. But from One Breezy, I am Adam Cousins, and you have been watching the Wrestling Edge podcast. And we'll be back very soon with some more. Stay tuned. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, everyone.